is here. Might be one or two more stragglers, so I think it's all right if we go ahead and get it kicked off. So I'll start it up then. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Evan Mason. I am a case manager with ODS. I do a handful of other small duties, and one of those is to oversee our scholarship committee and our scholarship process. So for me, it's been very gratifying to have some sort of event for this year because last year we had one scheduled, we had everything lined up, and wouldn't you know it, COVID kind of got in the way like 3 weeks before it was supposed to happen. And if anybody remembers what like late March and April was like last year, nobody got anything done. So we kind of scrapped it, and I was glad that we could put something together this year. So without going into too much, I want to go over some business before we dive in. So first off, if you look in the chat, Angie will be posting the CPrint information, so everything will be available through CPrint tonight. If you want to utilize that, just open up a separate tab and type 74.143.81.141 in the URL, and you'll be able to access that service. Also, this event is being recorded. Once we get the recording captioned and put up on our website, I'll send out an email to everybody who's on that list so you can access it if you want to do it that way. We have a lot of bios to go through. We have 2 years worth of scholarship recipients to honor tonight. And so in an effort to keep everything rolling, we are only going to read bios of students one time, even though we have many students who have received multiple scholarships, sometimes the same scholarship 2 years in a row, sometimes different scholarships. So we're going to acknowledge you when we hear your name for the first time. And then after that, we're just going to briefly mention your name and move on to those who haven't been recognized yet. And also, we have a handful of staff who won't be speaking tonight. They will be monitoring the chat. So if you have any questions throughout this process, please feel free to type in there and they will get back to you as soon as they can. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to our very special guest joining us tonight, Dr. Sue Edwards, President of Wright State. Take it away, Sue.
Thank you, Evan. And thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. You know, I have to say, this time of year is my favorite time of year because we get to recognize our fabulous students. And for those of you that haven't met me before, the students are the whole reason that I get up in the morning. So I am all about them. So this is a great event where we get to celebrate and recognize our students. And let's face it, this year has been a particularly tough year. You know, we're celebrating 2 years of awards tonight, primarily because of COVID and the impact that COVID has had, not only here in the United States, but across the world. And I have to say, our faculty, our staff, and most incredibly, our students have shown such depth of courage, resilience, and adaptability in a time where uncertainty was the normal and not knowing exactly what would come in the next 24 hours. So I want to thank you all for your persistence and your good humor throughout the events that have unfolded. And it feels like 3 years, doesn't it? But really it's only been 12 months. It's been 3 semesters, but it has been almost an eternity for all of us that actually love to be with people. And, you know, I'm looking on the screen here now, and I do see the faces of some of my most favorite people on this campus. So I'm very thrilled to be here to celebrate with you tonight's achievements. Now, the challenges that you've had to come have been pretty much unprecedented, but I do think it has set us up for dealing with whatever comes in the future. You know, our students and our staff in ODS are no stranger to challenge. and they inspire me absolutely every day by the challenges that they overcome and their outlook on life. They always, whenever I see our students in the hallways, they're always the first to smile, the first to greet me, the first to tell me exactly how they're doing and all the cool things that they've been up to. And I have so missed that over the last 12 months. So I can't wait for our students to be back on campus. And I know that I can see Renee there, and I do stalk Renee quite often. I do see her at the coffee shop. She does love her coffee, or actually her frozen drinks. I think it more is, Renee, right? So, you know, I do know that our students do love to engage with our campus. And tonight we recognize all of their fabulous achievements, both in the classroom and out of the classroom. I also want to say that we're recognizing faculty and staff who have gone above and beyond to serve our students in not only, you know, pre-COVID, but during COVID. I want to thank absolutely every member of our ODS family, our staff, because you have managed to continue to connect with our students in a remote format, which is difficult for some of your students. And I want to thank you for everything that you have done. You have gone above and beyond, and you are role models for the rest of the campus. So thank you so much. You know, and I know you live, you're downstairs, and I don't get to see you all as much, but I can't wait for you all to return to campus so that I can come and thank you in person. So I'm not going to talk anymore because Tom will actually probably turn me off, and I will leave it there by saying congratulations to all of our scholarship winners tonight, all of our award winners. Thank you so much to our donors and our sponsors and the families that support all of our students. You know, this takes a village, and I am so thankful to have all of you as members of our village, our community. And I look forward to seeing those of you that are returning in the fall face to face so that I can harass you even more when I see you. And so hopefully you'll stop and chat with me and tell me how your summers have been. Please stay safe over the summer. I can't wait for you to return. And Tom, or Evan, I will hand it back to you both.
Sounds great. Thank you, President Edwards. Appreciate your support and certainly you joining us tonight. I know this is a time of year where you're incredibly busy. So we really appreciate your time and being able to celebrate our students and staff and faculty with us tonight. So I do, every time we have a awards, scholarship award ceremony, we do a little bit of a state of the state in terms of ODS and sharing kind of what's new, highlighting a few things. And I know we're on a condensed schedule, so I will try to make it as quick as possible this evening. Let's see if I can get my screen to work correctly. Evan, am I up and running? Okay, thank you.
Good.
All right. So first and foremost, since it's been about 2 years since we've been able to do one of these, our staff has changed a little bit, and our staff will continue to change. This is just a quick overview of kind of who's doing what in the office. You know, I guess the first thing I will share is that Katherine Myers will be retiring in the end of December of this year. So that's something that we're starting to plan for now because of her critical role in terms of, you know, being part of our physical support services for our students that use the PA station and PA services. And I'm sure we'll obviously have time to recognize her at our next scholarship awards banquet next year. But we're in the plans of the transition for her role. I believe, Katherine, you can correct me if I'm wrong, you've been with Wright State for 27 years-ish. So quite a legacy there in terms of working with our students. The other staff member we have that is new to the office, aside from Evan, who has introduced himself, is Kyla Araro. She has been with us for about a year and came on board during the pandemic, which is a difficult transition for anybody to come on board in any type of job. But Kyla has fit in very quickly with the staff and jumped kind of headfirst into working with the students. And we're excited to have her as part of the team. You'll hear more from her when she talks about some of her scholarship award winners later in the program. But we are excited to have Evan and Kyla as new members of the team within the last, I guess, 2 years, if you kind of look at both of them in terms of when they've started. So we've had some major shifts in terms of how we do things. We've done everything remotely, including some downtime where we've been able to have, in this case, this was a murder mystery we did at the end of last year, where we were able to maybe do let off a little bit of steam and get creative. And so we worked with a theater troupe out of Michigan that helped coordinate a murder mystery with all of the staff, and we all had different roles. So it was nice to be able to do something a little different, even in our unique times, and still stay connected. And that's the one thing I think the staff has done a phenomenal job of doing. Is we're a very connected staff. We collaborate a lot with other departments, but I think we're very much we work well together. We're a very well-oiled machine for sure. Quickly sharing kind of our trend of students that we're serving year over year. We took a little bit of a dip when the pandemic hit, and we're already starting to see those numbers rebound pretty significantly for this coming fall. So I think we're going to be back to our higher numbers of students served come fall of this coming this year. I think that as we start to see the return to in-person, a lot of our students are getting excited to find ways back to campus and back to living on campus. We have a lot to be proud of, and this is a slide that I shared with our Board of Trustees, I guess back in February. And the one that I want to highlight they're all very important highlights here, but we recently were ranked number 3 by New Mobility Magazine, which is a magazine published by the United Spinal Association, and it's got a pretty wide readership, and it's a well-regarded publication. They spent a lot of time going out to different universities and looking at their accessibility, looking at their culture, looking at their climate, and we were happy to be ranked number 3 out of kind of the best in the country. I think that's gotten a lot of positive press for Wright State, but it's also kind of opened a lot of people up to rediscovering or hearing about Wright State for the first time, at least nationally. So my hope is that we'll hear about more students out of state that might be interested in Wright State and the accessibility options and the inclusive environment we have here. The other thing I'll mention, and I know we have the Laux family here, our service dog park, was the first one in the country at any university. One of the things I shared with our Board of Trustees back in February is that we constantly get phone calls from other universities in Ohio and elsewhere looking to start a service dog park. And so we know Miami University has, they've secured some funds to start a service dog park, but they've copied us as the example. And they're going to start breaking ground, I think, next spring. So they're still, about a year away. University of Cincinnati, they've been contacting us and working with us as well in terms of just seeing how we did ours over 10 years ago. And so it's nice to be kind of the flagship, the role model for other universities when it comes to kind of setting the bar for a service dog park or a tunnel system, whatever it might be, in terms of how we are providing inclusive options for our students. This is a fairly hot off the press project that we announced about a month and a half ago. We received some additional funding from the Christopher and Dana Reeves Foundation to purchase actually 4 power adapted quad bikes that will be part of Adaptive Rec. So if you hadn't heard that news, we're excited to have that up and running later this summer. We just got the check maybe a week ago, so we'll be working on placing that order pretty soon with this company. And this will be a great opportunity for our students to be able to participate in some of the outdoor rec opportunities and use the trails, or bike trails, I should say, around campus and around the Miami Valley. And then I'll kind of end and wrap up by saying, one of our major pillars or points of pride that we have as a university, and certainly as the Office of Disability Services, is our personal attendant station that's been in existence since the 1970s. It's a service that allows many of our students with physical disabilities the option to be able to live on campus and come and take classes during the day and really fully participate in campus life. And one of the initiatives that I'm working with Foundation on, and it's kind of in the mid-planning stages right now, is a capital campaign so we can create an endowment that will produce funds that can become independent of any university operating dollars and can be something that we can continue no matter kind of what's going on at Wright State, whether we're financially strong or financially challenged. We can keep this as a one of our points of pride moving forward. So I would say look forward in the months to come to talking about and hearing more about a capital campaign around the PA station and creating an endowment. If any of you are interested in kind of, we're going to form a steering committee about that regarding that. I would welcome you to reach out, and we'd love to talk to you more about that. We're certainly looking for we're going to be looking for donors, but we're also going to be looking for a strategy in terms of how we pursue donors moving forward. So we're really excited to have that as our next big project for both the office, but also for the university, because it means so much to the university. Let me end my slideshow here, and I'm going to turn it over to Angie as she will do the first presentation of scholarships.
Thank you, Tom Webb, and thank you, President Edwards. I'm Angie Maston. I'm one of the case managers in ODS. I've been with the office since 2007, so 14 years now. And I'm very excited to present some of our scholarships this evening. Our first scholarship of this evening is the ACB Ohio Scholarship, and we are pleased to welcome Vicki Prahin and Brett Adams from ACB Ohio. The American Council of the Blind Ohio Scholarship was established in 2008 by the American Council of the Blind of Ohio to recognize the meaningful college achievements of incoming or continuing students who are blind or have low vision. Matthew Sanders received this scholarship last year and is receiving it again this year. Matthew is finishing his first year at Wright State University and is majoring in computer engineering. He plans on pursuing a career in cybersecurity and is already considering continuing his education with a master's degree. Matthew is a member of the Computer Science Student Advisory Board and is active with the Civil Air Patrol in martial arts and his church. We're also pleased to have Suman Srinvasan join us from Beavercreek Lions Club. The D. Baxter Memorial Scholarship was created by the Beavercreek Lions Club in 2015. Formerly known as the Beavercreek Lions Scholarship, the award was renamed in honor of a Beavercreek Lions Club member who unfortunately passed away in November 2020. This scholarship supports full-time undergraduate students who are legally blind and have financial need. The 2021 recipient was Michaela Forbes. Michaela Forbes will be graduating this spring with a Bachelor of Science in Middle Childhood Education with concentrations in Science and Social Studies. This summer, she will be starting a Master's of Education program. She has completed teaching placements at Fairborn Intermediate School and Ankeny Middle School in Beavercreek. This year's recipient is Jamie Naylor. Jamie is finishing her first year at Wright State and is majoring in women, gender and sexuality studies. Jamie currently serves as a political writer for Wright State's Guardian newspaper and covered the 2020 presidential election. After graduation, she plans on embarking on a career in journalism. Our next scholarship, the Fairborn Lions Scholarship, and we are pleased to welcome Tim Steininger. This is our oldest scholarship given out by the Office of Disability Services, having been established by the Fairborn Lions Club in 1975. Each year it is awarded to support successful students with visual impairments attending Wright State. Last year's recipient was Michaela Forbes, and this year's recipient is Jamie Naylor. The Ohio Lions Helen Keller Scholarship was established in 1994 by the Ohio Lions Foundation to recognize an undergraduate or graduate student who is part-time or full-time that is visually impaired with demonstrated academic achievement and financial need. Last year's recipients were Michaela Forbes and William Harvey. William Harvey is a senior pursuing a Bachelor of Arts in Computer Science. William plans on graduating this coming fall. This year's recipients are Jamie Naylor and Michaela Forbes. And now I would like to welcome Katherine Myers.
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. I'm Katherine Myers. I'm the one who's been here for 27 years. It seems like a lifetime. Actually, for some people, it probably is. And it is my pleasure to continue with the scholarship presentations. And the first one I'm going to start with is the Samantha Laux Scholarship. We are very pleased to have Gail and Chris Lau with us this evening. Created by the family and friends of Samantha Lau in 2012, the scholarship supports continuing students registered with the Office of Disability Services with financial need who have any combination of visual impairments, hearing impairments, quadriplegia, or paraplegia. We are very pleased to have Gail and Chris Lau with us. Sorry. Last year, the scholarship was awarded to two recipients, Amelia Horton and Mary Trittschuh. Amelia is receiving it again this year. Mary Trittschuh is completing her second year at Wright State University and is majoring in marketing. Most summers, she volunteers as a counselor at the Ohio Youth Leadership Forum. Mary is also active on campus as a part of the Ability Student Organization and Chi Alpha Ministries. Amelia Horton graduated this past fall semester with a Bachelor of Science in Neuroscience with a minor in Psychology. This coming fall, Amelia will begin pursuing a Master of Science in Physiology and Neuroscience. Amelia is a member of the Ability Student Organization and has previously served as the organization's events chair. Lee and Mary Menke Memorial Scholarship. The Lee and Mary K. Menke Scholarship was established in 2007 in memory of an alumnus who attended Wright State to recognize undergraduate students with physical disabilities who have demonstrated significant college achievement throughout the academic year. Last year, the scholarship was awarded to two recipients, Lissa Zepfel and Grace Beckman. Grace is receiving it again this year. Lissa Zepfel is pursuing a Bachelor of Science in Rehabilitation Services. At Wright State, she has been active in Chi Alpha and Catholic Campus Ministry. She participates in adapted recreation and serves as the Sergeant of Arms in the Ability Student Organization. After graduation, she hopes to work as a child life specialist in a hospital. Grace Beckman is a senior pursuing both a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering and a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Stage Management. She has served as a stage manager for two major Wright State theater productions, Enemy of the People and The War of the Worlds radio drama. Grace hopes to bring her stage management experience and artistic lens to a career as a mechanical engineer. The last one I'm going to present is the M. Patrick Daniels Scholarship. We're very pleased to have Michael and Margaret Daniels with us this evening. The M. Patrick Daniels Scholarship was established in 2016 in memory of Patrick Daniels, who graduated from Wright State in 2000 with a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science. This scholarship is awarded to a student with a disability, with preference given to students with muscular dystrophy who are registered with the Office of Disability Services and demonstrate financial need. The two recipients for the 2020 and 2021 academic year were Elena McCain and Tara Pauley. This year's recipients are Renee Dolenmeyer and once again, Elena McCain. After completing her Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, magna cum laude last spring, Elena McCain is now pursuing a Master's of Science in Computer Science specializing in artificial intelligence. On campus, Elena has participated in adapted recreation and is a member of Tau Beta Pi. She also works as a software developer for a Department of Defense contractor. Tara Pauley is pursuing a Bachelor of Science in Rehabilitation Services with a minor in Disability Studies. After graduation, she plans to return to Wright State to complete a Master of Rehabilitation Counseling and hopes to work in a children's hospital after graduation. Tara serves as a mentor with the Natural Helper Program in Montgomery County and has also participated in adapted recreation at Wright State. Renee Dolenmeyer is finishing her second year at Wright State University, pursuing a degree in rehabilitation services. She is very active on campus and is a member of the Kappa Delta sorority, Miracle Makers, Chi Alpha Ministries, and College Panhellenic Council. When the pandemic began, Renee created a Bible study through Zoom for girls with disabilities and now has over 50 attending. And now I'm going to turn it over to Kyla Arroyo.
Thank you, Katherine. So I'm Kyla Arroyo. As Tom mentioned, I am the newest staff member at Wright State with ODS. I will be coming up on my year, May 4th. I'm so excited to be here for 1 year. I'm also proud to be a part of an institution that is able to award scholarships to students registered with their Office of Disability Services. And so the first scholarship I'm going to present is the Frederick A. White Prize. So the Fred White Prize is awarded to continuing students enrolled in a minimum of 9 credit hours with a documented disability who is registered with the Office of Disability Services. Students presented with this award have demonstrated a combination of academic achievement, leadership skills, participation in university activities, and contributions to the Wright State community. Last year, the scholarship was awarded to Sydney Woods. This year, it is awarded to Janelle Chumney. Sydney Woods is a senior pursuing a Bachelor of Science in Mathematics and will be graduating at the end of this semester. Sydney has been very involved on campus as a member of the ASK program, a member of the Dean's Circle of the College of Science and Mathematics, and a Considine Scholar. Janelle Chumney is a second-year graduate student pursuing a Master's of Public Health. Janelle already holds 1 degree from Wright State, having graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Biomedical Engineering in 2018. Janelle has completed medical mission trips to Haiti, Jamaica, and has been very active on campus as an engineering student ambassador, peer mentor, as well as a member of Engineers Without Borders and the Tau Beta Pi organization. So the next scholarship is the Frederick A. White Scholarship. It was established by Wright State Vice President Fred A. White in 1975. The scholarship will be awarded to a full-time undergraduate or graduate student who maintains a 3.4 GPA, a minimum of a 3.4 GPA. Last year, the scholarship was awarded to 2 recipients, Justina Falekia and Zachary Gametsfelder. This year, the scholarship is being awarded to Theodore Hell. Justina graduated last spring with a Bachelor's of Arts in Anthropology, magna cum laude, and with honors, and started graduate school last fall at Wright State. As part of her undergraduate education, she has participated in and supervised archaeological field schools and presented at Wright State's Celebration of Research. In addition, Justina has participated in numerous student organizations and honor societies. Zachary graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering this past December. A participant in the 4+1 program, he began taking graduate courses while finishing up his undergrad career and plans on working in a very large-scale integration after graduation. Zachary is a member of the Sigma Phi Delta fraternity and the Tau Beta Pi Engineering Honor Society and has worked as a tutor with the Wright State's Math Learning Center. Theodore Hell is completing his first year at Wright State after transferring from Sinclair Community College, where he achieved a 4.0 GPA. He is pursuing a Bachelor's of Arts in Crime and Justice Studies and hopes to embark on a career in federal law enforcement. At Sinclair, Theodore participated in the honors program and served as the Vice President of the leadership of the Phi Theta Kappa Nu Pi chapter. He has bicycled to raise money for charity and has continued to contributed to local causes, including the Dayton Foundation's Greater Dayton Disaster Relief Fund after the 2019 Memorial Day tornadoes. A mainstay at the Dayton Community Blood Center with 36 lifetime donations, Theodore is the youngest inductee to the Fresenius Kappa National Blood Donation Hall of Fame and holds a Dayton record for the most donations as a high school student. The Lieber Family Fund is a fund that was established by an alumnus of Wright State named Jean Lieber, who was active in campus activities, including wheelchair basketball while a student. Following graduation, Jean was the director of the Dayton Access Center for Independent Living for 10 years and a prominent Dayton philanthropist. Last year, recipients for the Lieber Family Fund was Brianna Ramus. This year's recipient is Brandon Dunson. Brianna Ramus is a second-year graduate student pursuing a Master's of Arts in Social Work and will be graduating at the end of this semester. She completed her Bachelor's of Art summa cum laude from Wright State in May of 2019. Excelling in academics and service, Brianna has participated in numerous student organizations, honor societies, and sororities. Her volunteer experiences include the Community Blood Center, Habitat for Humanity, Students in Sisterhood, and the Cincinnati Reds Urban Youth Academy. Brandon Dunson will be graduating from Sinclair this semester with an associate degree or with associate degrees in computer and electrical engineering. This fall, he will be transferring to Wright State through the Wright Path program and will continue studying computer engineering. At Sinclair, Brandon was a member of the Brother to Brother, a Choose Ohio First, and NASA Ohio Space Grant Consortium Scholar, and was a recipient of the National Engaged Leader Award. At this time, I will pass the torch over to Heather.
Thank you, Kyla. I'm Heather Rando, and I'm the Associate Director in the office, and I have been with ODS for 10 years now already. I started in 2011 in May, so the time has just flied. It's a real joy to be here with you all. The first scholarship presentation that I am going to present is called the Michael Emmerich Scholarship. And the Michael Emmerich Scholarship was established in 1991 and is named after a student who attended Wright State and worked in the Adapted Recreation Program. This scholarship was established anonymously through the Dayton Foundation and is awarded to an incoming or continuing student on the basis of their university involvement and the leadership and participation in adapted recreation. Avery Vance was the recipient of the scholarship for the 2020-2021 academic year, and this year's recipient is Madison Jewell. Avery Vance is a senior pursuing a Bachelor of Science in Nursing and will be graduating this semester. After obtaining her degree, she hopes to work closely with patients and later return to Wright State to pursue a graduate degree for nursing education and instruction. Avery has been an active member with Dayton Children's Hospital, the Ronald McDonald House, and Wright State's Food Pantry. On campus, she's taken a leadership role with the Association of Student Nurses and served on the College of Nursing and Health Dean's Student Advisory Board for 2 years, including serving as its president. Madison Jewell graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Neuroscience with a minor in Psychology, cum laude from Wright State this past year, December, and began pursuing a Master of Science in Physiology and Neuroscience this semester. During her bachelor's degree coursework, Madison participated in global public health by grades to Nicaragua and Ghana. Madison has also been a member of Pre-Health Society, a NeuroLab facilitator, and a NASA Ohio Space Grant Consortium Scholar. That's incredible. My next scholarship I'm presenting is the Robert Milling Senior Scholarship. The Robert Milling Senior Scholarship was established by our own Katherine Myers in honor of her father, who strongly believed in education and was a lifelong learner. Dr. Milling was an aeronautical engineer, a veteran of World War II, and achieved his PhD in engineering at the age of 60. This scholarship was established to support a student majoring in engineering with a preference to a graduate student. Last year, the Robert Milling Senior Scholarship was awarded to Nicholas Van Zandt. This year, Ernest Mitchell has been awarded this scholarship. Nicholas is finishing his Master of Science in Material Science and Engineering this spring as part of Wright State's 4+1 program, having graduated with his undergraduate degree last spring. While maintaining a 4.0 GPA, he also works part-time as a student researcher at the Materials and Manufacturing Directorate of the Air Force Research Lab. After completing his master's degree, Nicholas hopes to obtain a full-time position with the Air Force Research Lab. And he is also an Eagle Scout with the Boy Scouts of America and is a volunteer with Cooksuldo as an instructor. Ernest Mitchell already holds 2 degrees from Wright State, one in biomedical engineering and another in applied mathematics, and is now working towards a Master of Science in biomedical engineering with concentrations in neuroengineering and RF and microwaves instrumentation. During his time at Wright State, Ernest has been active in the Biomedical Engineering Society, the Neuroscience Club, and the Boonshoff School of Medicine's BioStar initiative. He has also completed several internships through the Workforce Development Program. The next scholarship I'm presenting is called the Grabowski Family Scholarship. And this was established by Pamela Airline in 2012. And this scholarship will be awarded to an incoming or continuing student who has demonstrated financial need. Shared with the Veteran and Military Center, this scholarship is awarded by the Office of Disability Services every other year. This year's recipient is Kayla Gonzalez Boy. Kayla will be returning to Wright State this fall to begin pursuing a Master of Science in Earth and Environmental Science. Previously, Kayla graduated from Wright State with a Bachelor of Arts in Crime and Justice Studies. She plans to write her thesis on algae blooms that threaten the ecosystems in the Great Lakes and hopes to someday work for the Ohio Department of Natural Resources or the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration. Additionally, she is currently working as an intern in the neuroscience lab. So congratulations to all those that I presented for. It's a wonderful achievement, and I'm going to turn things over to Evan Mason. Thanks.
Great. So at this point, you've all heard about me enough. So I guess I'll add one more tidbit. So besides being the second newest staff member starting here in 2019, I previously worked on my very first job as a raise coach with ODS back in 2012, 2013, 2014 range. So this is my second time around working for ODS in a way. So the first scholarship that I am going to present is the Jody Predican Watts Leadership Assistance Fund. So this is a scholarship that's given out annually, actually by the College of Liberal Arts, to a COLA student with a disability who demonstrates leadership at Wright State. So every year, ODS reviews applicants and nominates a student who is then confirmed by the College of Liberal Arts. So the 2 recipients we have will be Courtney Graham for last year, and then this year it is Rebecca Wise, who I know is in the meeting somewhere. There you are, Rebecca. So Courtney is currently pursuing degrees in social work and criminal justice. She's been a leader on campus, has been involved with the Wright State's Women's Center as the marketing and outreach intern, and has been a puppy raiser for Four Paws for Ability. She hopes someday to use all of her experiences to obtain a career as a survivor advocate. Rebecca is in her 3rd year at Wright State and will be completing her Bachelor of Arts in Social Work this semester. This summer, she will be starting a Master's of Arts program in social work and is concentrating in family and children's services. Rebecca has been very involved on campus and among her many extracurriculars. And this is a trimmed down list. I'll leave it at that. So she has been a resident assistant. She is currently the president of the Ability Student Organization. She is vice president of the Asian Student Association and treasurer of the Social Work Club. So congratulations. The next one will be the Jeffrey Vernoy Scholarship, which was established in 2013 after the late Jeffrey Vernoy, who is the 3rd director of the Office of Disability Services. Jeff is remembered for his tireless contributions to disability advocacy, diversity, and his 36 years of service to Wright State. He believes strongly in recognizing students who have demonstrated tremendous efforts towards increased independence and self-improvement, and his award is devoted to students who have shown significant growth over the last academic year. So we have 2 recipients of this. Kevser Ademhan was awarded this scholarship last year, and this year we are awarding it to Staciana Diamond. So Kevser came to Wright State in fall of 2019 from Turkey. There she was a graduate of Istanbul Culture University and was the valedictorian of psychology. Over this past year, Kevser has continued her classes entirely online from Turkey and will be finishing her Master of Science in Physiology and Neuroscience at the end of the semester. While she was at Wright State, she also served as the Social and International Chair of the Ability Student Organization. Staciana is a junior pursuing a Bachelor of Science in Nursing and on her way of fulfilling a lifelong dream of becoming a nurse. At Wright State, she has been active as a orientation leader, move-in day helper, and is a member of the National Society of Leadership and Success. The next scholarship I have for you is the Thomas Fay Scholarship. So the Thomas Fay Scholarship was established in 2005 in memory of 1983 alumnus Thomas Fay and supports students registered with ODS. The two recipients that we have are Theodore Hale for the 2020 to 2021 academic year, who you've already heard about with the Fred White Scholarship, and Justin Noss, who I know is here. Justin is finishing his first year at Wright State and is majoring in supply chain management. He's been very involved in his first year at Wright State. He's participated in numerous clubs and organizations, among them the Student Honors Association, Information Systems and Supply Chain Management Club, Finance Club, Entrepreneurship Club, Abilities, and has been active with the Wright State Outdoor Recreational Hiking Team. That was a mouthful. Okay, so moving on to the last scholarship, which also has the most recipients. So we have yet another name change. We're trying to keep things fresh for all of you. I'm trying to keep you all on your toes. So the newest scholarship is a rebranding of a handful of smaller scholarships. So what used to be called the Scholarship for Students with Disabilities and a couple of other scholarships have been renamed the Spirit of 1970 Scholarship. So the Office of Disability Services, then known as Handicapped Student Services, was founded in 1970, 7 years before required by law. This award will be given annually to students who best embody the spirit and legacy of over 50 years of disability access at Wright State. So last year's recipients, all under a different name, were Justin Noss, who we just heard about, Shaviante Graham, and Carly Kessler. This year, we have been able to award these scholarships to 6 exemplary students. They are Jules Naylor, Faith Rummel, who I know is hiding in the meeting, Elena Thomas, who I think is here too, Matthew Schultz, Mary Tritschu, who we've already heard about for the Samantha Laux Scholarship, and again, Carly Kessler. So Shaviante Graham now is a second-year medical student in the Boonshoff School of Medicine, and she is pursuing her dreams of becoming a physician. Before coming to Wright State, she worked as a patient advocate assisting African American and Latinx patients in navigating healthcare resources and hopes to use her experiences to advocate for patients in disadvantaged communities. Shaviante has volunteered as a mentor in the Big Brothers Big Sisters program and at the Trotwood Madison Early Learning Center. Carly Kessler is now a senior studying biochemistry and molecular biology and will be graduating at the end of the semester. This fall, she'll be returning to Wright State to begin working towards a Master of Science in Anatomy. Carly is a mentor of Alpha Xi Delta, has volunteered with Dayton Children's Hospital, and has worked on campus as a SI instructor and a study coach for the Academic Success Center. Jules Naylor is now in her 3rd year at Wright State and is majoring in psychology with a concentration in clinical psychology, as well as minors in French and women, gender, and sexuality studies. After graduating, Jules plans to attend graduate school and begin a career as a clinical psychologist. She's been very active at Wright State and has served as an officer with Rainbow Alliance, a peer mentor for the Office of LGBTQA Affairs, as well as a member of Psi Chi Honor Society. Okay, a few more of these. I'm gonna try to catch my breath. Faith Rummel is finishing her first year at Wright State, where she is working towards a Bachelor of Science in Education. Faith is planning on becoming an intervention specialist, concentrating in language arts and social studies. In addition to working full-time, Faith is a member of the National Society for Leadership and Success and the Epilepsy Alliance of Greater Cincinnati. Matthew Schultz is a senior at William Mason High School and will be graduating this May. Matthew is passionate about both music and math, specifically googology, which I had to look it up. It is the study of large numbers. He's been very involved in his school's band program and plays both clarinet and piano. When he arrives at Wright State, he's going to explore the options available in both music and math. And in his free time, he contributes to a googology wiki and volunteers with several church-based programs. And last but not least, Elena Thomas is in her 4th year at Wright State, pursuing a Bachelor of Science in Nursing. After graduating, she hopes to return to Wright State for graduate school and begin a career as an acute pediatric nurse practitioner specializing in endocrinology. Elena has volunteered at Urbana High School, both as a tutor and a swim team coach. In addition, she has been involved with the Wright State Diabetes Support Network and has been involved in several diabetes fundraisers. And that concludes our mini scholarship recipients. So congratulations to all of you. And I'm going to turn it back over to Tom Webb to present our Golden Spoke Awards.
Thank you, Evan, and congratulations to all the students that we have recognized for the past 2 years. It's very exciting to hear all of your accomplishments, and we look forward to seeing where you're going next, because it sounds like all of you are going places for sure. In terms of the Golden Spoke, so for those of you that are not familiar, the Golden Spoke Award has, we can't quite pinpoint when it started, but we're guessing Jeffrey Vernoy started it when he was the director. So it has a pretty strong, at least 10 plus year legacy of being awarded during our scholarship award banquet. And the criteria is really, we're looking for champions and advocates in Wright State and outside of Wright State that have worked well with our students, with our staff, and have just, kind of moved the needle forward a little bit in terms of just being a good role model and providing, either exceptional services or exceptional pedagogy or just exceptional, kind of climate in terms of the students that we are working with. So the first person that I would like to recognize for our Golden Spoke is one of our faculty members in our College of Nursing and Health, and that is Kenneth Smith. He is a clinical assistant professor. It's definitely one of the more challenging academic programs here at Wright State. There's no doubt about it, our nursing program. But his approach with working with students with disabilities really stands out, not just because of any single event, but more of just a bunch of small things that he does day in and day out. And it's that attention to detail and the way that he's very student focused and student centered in his approach that really stands out to our staff. But we've also heard from some of his students as to why he has really kind of risen to the top and why we're selecting him for the Golden Spoke. He's one of those faculty members that is rare for us as an office, where he comes in and actually will ask questions and want to know how to better assist the student, and goes out of his way to do that on a regular basis. And like, how can I make things better? How can I accommodate the student? And what are some different ways we can explore doing that? And his openness, really goes a long way. And it's not something that we see every day. And especially for a program that is very challenging like nursing, and there's a lot of demands on the faculty there and the students. It's refreshing to see a faculty member like Ken that can really kind of step up and continue to put the students first, as well as being really creative in terms of how he accommodates our students. So, we've heard from, I'm not going to name specific students, but we've heard from at least a handful that have really sung his praises in terms of how welcoming and inclusive he is for them to be in his class. And we would like to recognize Ken for his efforts and present him with a Golden Spoke this year. Right. So our next award winner is Maggie Meha. And Maggie has been, how do I even describe this? Let me give you a little bit of a history lesson. So almost 2 years ago, if my timeline is correct, and it's very hard to determine timelines in the midst of COVID, Maggie, actually Maggie's boss with the Ohio Opportunities for Individuals with Disabilities, OOD, they actually approached Wright State along with 16 other universities in the state and said, we're going to create a new program called College to Careers. And we are going to place an OOD counselor. Our hope is we're going to place an OOD counselor into your office. We knew we weren't going to have much of a say other than we were excited to have this as an additional resource, but we were also a little worried about how that would fit with the dynamic of the office. When Maggie kind of appeared one day, we were delighted to hear that she was a Wright State grad, which made things very easy in terms of kind of welcoming her and her knowing the culture. But then we also found that she blended in with the staff incredibly well, had very similar philosophies to the rest of us, and really was there for the students and has worked phenomenally well in supporting our students in internship placement and job prep, and just also kind of getting them in the door at Wright State and getting them the resources they need. So what you also don't know is that there's a little bit of a competition going, even if it's informal, when it comes to the OOD counselors around the state that are stationed in the different disability service offices. And we are in, depending on the year, in the top 2 or 3 in terms of the OOD counselor having the most caseload and the most impact on students. I think we're up there with University of Toledo, and then maybe we're second place right now. But at one point we were first. But Maggie's certainly competitive in that regard, and we are too. And we've been really fortunate to have her as a partner. You know, a lot of people think she's a full ODS staff member, and she's actually, you know, working for the state. But she blends in really well, and the students really appreciate her. We had made the decision to award this to Maggie. Right around the same time, we also found out that she's leaving OOD and going to work for Dayton Children's. So we are sad that she is leaving OOD and leaving us, but excited for her new opportunity. And certainly Dayton Children's is really going to benefit from her expertise and her compassion that she has with working with her clients. So we would like to recognize Maggie today for her work in our office and work with our students with a Golden Spoke. Congratulations to Ken and Maggie. And then let me see, I think I have 2 other things that I want to quickly mention, then I'll turn it over to Evan. So let me point out on your program, if you didn't notice, for 2021, we awarded $49,400 in scholarships. And for 21-22, we awarded $51,607 in scholarships for a grand total of just over $100,000 in scholarships for 2 years. And that's a record for us, not just for a 2-year record, but just an annual record. But that number is pretty significant, and it really has a lot of impact for a lot of our students. So I do want to make sure that we thank again the American Council for the Blind of Ohio, the Beavercreek Lions, the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation, the Daniels Family, the Dayton Foundation, the Fairborn Lions Club, the Laux Family, Katherine Myers, the Ohio Lions Foundation, and of course the Wright State University Foundation that helps us with getting our scholarships and maintaining our foundation funds. So thanks to everyone for your contributions. With that said, I will turn it over to Evan.
All right. Just a few things before we close it out. I want to say thank you to everybody who showed up, our donors, our students, my fellow staff members, and everybody else from Wright State, to President Edwards. Thank you for sticking around for the full thing. I also really want to recognize the members of the scholarship committees over the last 2 years who helped make the decisions and help make all of this happen, because it's a very difficult, complicated task. They have to listen to me a lot and deal with me throughout the process, and they give me very little sass. So we'll start with the scholarship committee last year, which was made up of Katherine, who is in my top right, Katherine Myers, Donna Harris, who has been in the meeting, and then also Shonda Jones, who is not here tonight. She is called away on other business. This year, the scholarship committee is once again Donna, and then where are you? There's Kyla in my top right. So our newest staff member, Kyla Arroyo, sat on it this year. So thank you all for your contributions. So lastly, since this is an entirely virtual ceremony, it doesn't have quite the same feel as a regular in-person ceremony, since we're not actually exchanging certificates or anything that feels real. I want to let all of our scholarship recipients know you do have real certificates that do exist on paper and are signed by real human beings with pens and everything. They are in the ODS offices now. So I'm going to be sending out information about when you can come pick those up. There's going to be a couple scheduled times now, and then when we come back in person in the summer, there'll be opportunities for you to come and pick those up. And lastly, I think that's it. I think I went too far on my list. So I want to thank you all for showing up. This has been great. Been a great first scholarship banquet for me, and it's been great to have something go on this year when we didn't have anything last year. So if that's all, I will let you go, and I'm glad that you were all able to join.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.